G'day guys, I'm Rich J from DNA, Digital Nomad Adventures. We're here in Koh Phangan, Thailand. And this big guy to my left, he came and joined us. This is Zach. How you doing, Zach? You loving it?
Yeah, I'm loving it, bro. The vibes here, the nature, right next to the sea, good people.
Nice.
Can't complain.
And Zach here, he's quite young. Look at him. How old are you?
22.
22! No one believes that,
No
first
one
off.
believes it,
But
no one.
he is, but more than that, you're hungry, bro. And you're doing things that 22-year-olds often are constrained with fear. And you seem to be fighting that fear in a full frontal way. And so I wanted to chat with you in this interview to get an idea of your story, how you've become this guy who kind of just jumps in and takes life with reckless abandon.
Cool, well, let's get into it. I mean, for me, one of the biggest turning points was when I was excluded from school for crashing my car into the school disco.
Aye.
Yeah, it wasn't the best. It was a bit of a low point in my life, but the harder you fall, the harder you get back up.
Right? Is that right?
I crashed my car a few months later. This was just before lockdown. Then a few months later, I wrote a book about this, about other things that had also happened in my secondary school life growing up from the age of maybe 11 to 18, which was then I sent to a publisher. They liked it. They published it worldwide. And that was kind of the turning point for me in my direction.
But that's just such a wild thing to do, Zach. I mean, here you are, presumably a bit of a hooligan.
Yeah,
Is that fair to say? But you were messing around, you were drinking,
yeah.
you've told me, you crashed your car into the school disco, you were being this young, reckless kid. What the heck made you think you could write a book about it? Like,
well, it's funny you say this actually, because writing the book was never actually my idea. So I suffered with a lot of mental health when this was all happening, which actually was one of the biggest reasons why I crashed my car. Hence the book is about dealing with mental health in a constructive way rather than it getting you kicked out of school. But then my mum came to me one day and she was like, why don't you write some things down? Because I was never very vocal with my parents about anything. I kind of kept it all in. And so writing for me was the only way that I could kind of get them to understand me in a way. So I wrote a few things down, gave it to my mum, and she was like, wow, like, this is good. I enjoyed this, like, write more. So for the next 7-8 days, maybe 9, I wrote from the morning all until night. I mean, we weren't allowed out of the house, it was lockdown. So I thought I may as well do something productive.
yeah.
So I finished this whole book in like 8 days, gave it to my mum, and she was like, yeah, this is good.
Wow.
This is cool. And she actually sent it off to a publisher. She acted as like my literary agent because I didn't have a clue what to do.
Yeah, cool. How old were you at the time?
I was 17 or 18. I was 18 when I wrote this. Yeah,
wow.
For sure. And she sent it off. I didn't really think anything of it. And then I can't remember how long after it was, but we got a reply from the publishers like, yeah, we love this. We want to publish it worldwide. So now it's available on Amazon, Waterstones, Barnes & Noble. And yeah, here I am now.
What's it called?
It's called Lost in the Woods of School, because that's exactly what I was. I was not only lost in life, but I was lost in school. Didn't know what I wanted to be, didn't know what I wanted to do. I always got good grades, but I just didn't know where I was in school.
You feel like maybe, and I think this might be common, you just sort of didn't fit into that environment?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was my mental health, mainly anxiety, that made me think I didn't fit in. I mean, I was a popular kid, you know. I had loads of friends. I never really had troubles with anything. I didn't really have anything to be kind of anxious about, but my brain told me I did, and then I kind of, started smoking weed and drinking a lot. And
Doesn't help.
Does not help at all. And then, yeah, it kind of led to this build up, bow, crash my car, and then that was that. Yeah.
Something needed to change.
Something needed to change, yeah, for sure. I mean, if you want things to change, you have to change things. So that's what I did.
Yeah, well
sure.
done. I mean, look, I'm sure almost anyone watching this can relate with anxiety. Anxiety comes in so many different shapes and forms. I get anxiety when I go to the supermarket because it's a paradox of choice. Oh my God, there's so many things to choose. What do I need? And then I'm just like, overwhelmed.
Sure, yeah.
So I just get people to do the shopping for me now. But like, what sort of anxiety, or how was your anxiety affecting you? Like, can you speak to that for a little bit?
Yeah,
Like,
so for me it was very social anxiety. I was very I hated getting asked questions in class. I did not want to go to class. I was skipping school from maybe 16. I was just skipping school. I wasn't going into lessons. As soon as I got my car, that was when I was like, okay, I can really skip school now. I've got my car. I just left. But for me, it was big social anxiety. I always worried about people's opinions of me, what they were thinking about, what they were like, how they looked at me, all this. But in reality, they're all thinking about themselves, man. They're not thinking about me. They don't care about me or what I'm doing. I was just so in my own head. I don't think the drink or the weed or any of that helped anyway. I think that kind of just magnified the problem.
I hear you, and I don't know if I think it's not that no one cares, but it's that people are busy caring about themselves.
Yeah, for sure.
They're too busy caring about themselves to care about you. And the one thing that I've sort of come to realize is that when I assume that someone else is thinking ill of me, that's me thinking that they're a bad person. I'm putting bad thoughts about me into their head, and I don't even know what they're thinking. So it's like, how presumptuous of me to make this person out to be the bad guy, which then is reflecting on how I'm not good enough. I've just decided from now on that I'm going to assume that everyone thinks the best of me. They just think the best of me all in, and that's how I go in. And then that allows me to create an open and communicative relationship.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I think it's just a very vicious cycle of thinking that people think this and this and that, when just have a positive outlook. You know, if it turns out they don't like you, then so be it. That's their loss, right?
Not everyone's going to like you.
No, for sure.
I used to want everyone to like me, but I can be pretty out there. I'm a bit loud sometimes, and some people just don't like that full in-your-face style. So,
but I mean, when you're truly authentic to yourself, this is when you realize that people aren't going to like you. But when you try and fit in and you're not being authentic, it's like you're trying to impress everyone, you're trying to be friends with everyone. But the truth is, be yourself, be authentic, and by doing so, you will invite the right people into your lives.
So what sort of tools or techniques have you got for going into this authenticity? Like, how do you know to be yourself?
I think for me, definitely, the more I read the Bible and get into Christianity and grow my relationship with Jesus, that for me is a big one. You know, I was never religious. I was brought up religious, brought up going to church.
Sure.
I felt like
Same.
it was being pushed onto me, which I didn't like. And then things happen in life, anxiety, school, this, that. And I just thought to myself, nah, there's nothing bigger out there. You know, I was an atheist for a bit, or an agnostic, like you said the other day. But then when I started reading the Bible and I've started, writing my second book, it's really brought me closer to this kind of backbone. And I've truly found myself through God, through Christianity, through Jesus. And that for me personally is how I've gone from anxious to confident, to lazy, to disciplined, to not knowing who I am, to having a complete purpose in life. And I understand that for everyone it's different, but for me, that's what made me realize who I am.
And you're currently living a nomadic lifestyle, but it's new for you. You are in essence an aspiring digital nomad, right? Fair to say. But you have sort of the soft skills that we see for people to make this happen. You have the hunger, you have the drive, you have the belief in yourself. So can you please shed some light to some people, like how you made this step into deciding to travel abroad, try something different, and step into a new life of coming to a beach meets and meeting other nomads and learning from them?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so 2 years ago, a bit more than 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago now, I went to Sri Lanka. I volunteered in this awesome place as an English teacher and a wildlife conservationist.
Cool.
For maybe almost 3 months. Loved it, met some amazing people, saw the world. I mean, there's so much out there, right? Then I came back to England, got my 9 to 5, bought my house, started, working not the bad life, but the contemporary way of life, which I don't shed any bad light upon. Some people, that's fine for them. But for me, I just personally wanted more, or at least to try it out and see how I like it.
But so you decided to go and try volunteering in another country, and that was sort of your entry level.
That was for me to, I won't even lie. That was to me to just completely escape reality when I went last time. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know where I was going. I just thought, you know what, I'm going to go out there. And turns out it was the best thing that ever happened to me.
There you go.
It was the best thing that ever happened to me, even though I didn't really understand why I was going. I met some amazing people, made some amazing relationships. And so I thought I'd go again. I mean, if it was so beneficial for me the first time, why not really go all out this time? And it's proven the exact same 10 times. And I've only been here for 3 weeks.
And now that you're here and you're doing stuff, what's your experience like? What are you feeling? What are you taking away? How's it going for
The
you?
experience has been absolutely incredible. I mean, maybe like 6 or 7 days in, we had the Beach Meets event, which was a 5-day digital nomad networking event here on the island of Koh Phangan. Didn't know what to expect. I'd never done a networking event like that before. Came to some huge realizations, met some unbelievable people, made some insane contacts. You know, I've got everyone in all works of life now on my WhatsApp. If I want to talk to them, I'll talk to them. I've joined online communities now. I'm going to another networking event, Madeira Island Fest in Portugal. It's just opened up so many avenues, you know.
You're so right. You know, they say that you are the aggregate of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So you are directly influenced by the people around you. And so it would make sense to surround yourself with inspired, motivated, driven people, right? Especially if this is what you want. But let's jump back into you and tell us a bit about your adventure and your mission and your goals, because you've got big goals. I mean, currently you're writing your 2nd book.
Yeah.
You've got a goal to finish the Bible front to back by the end of the year.
Yeah.
What else have you got going on in your life that's driving you forward, mate?
Yeah, so one of the things I've actually really realized, saying this actually came from Beach Meets, is that I really want to be a mentor and help people with their mental health, find self-love, find their purpose, discipline, motivation. I've worked with clients previous to coming to Thailand, but I didn't know whether that was my vocation. I didn't know whether that was my true calling. And after being here and speaking to people and speaking to other coaches as well, I've really realized that is what I want to do, with Christianity being the backbone of kind of what I speak about and what I teach as well. That's what will set me apart, because that for me is what I'm really passionate about. And I do think that it would definitely help a lot of people.
And so when you say mentor, are you talking about mentoring people just in general life, or mentoring them into coming into this adventurous lifestyle of working and traveling?
I think specifically it would be for people to find out who they truly are as a person. Because without knowing who you are as a person, it's very difficult to find your way in life, you know. And whether them finding themselves leads them here, leads them being a digital nomad, or maybe it leads them to being an accountant or a priest or anything, but just helping people find that purpose, find that inner sense of who they are, what they want to do, how they're going to get there, where they're going to end up, but really be present in who they are, because that's one of the biggest problems, especially, you know, in your decade of your 20s. You know, we're just continuously trying to figure things out, find out who we are, and that's such an issue. Such an issue. People are just so lost in life.
Okay, so how do we do that? What is there any practical approach you can impart to these guys that might be a method for someone figuring out who they are, what really matters to them?
Realization comes with isolation, you know, and that's not necessarily saying to lock yourself in a room for months on end. It could mean coming here, away from your life, back at home just for a bit and trying to figure that out. It could mean not going out drinking every week. It could mean going for a walk once a day, just spending more time with yourself, or however you choose to do that. But definitely isolate yourself, because with that isolation will come a realization, and with realization will come an actualization. And when you have that actualization, you're very, very well on the way to knowing who you are as a person.
Well said. Incredible, mate. I've watched this space, right? You know, this guy's got a bright future ahead of him. It's really cool stuff.
Appreciate that, man.
And what about advice? What advice have you got for some people out there who are maybe sitting at home, they're not happy, you know, they don't know themselves well enough yet because we're young and we're sort of still figuring it out. Like, what would you say to these people?
What I would say is, first of all, if you want things to change, you have to change things. I think it was Einstein who said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again but expecting a different outcome. If you want things to change, you have to change things. Simple as that. If you want to become a better person, be better than you were yesterday, you can't keep repeating what you did the day before. You have to make a change. You have to put that first step forward. A marathon seems like a long way when you first take those couple steps. But when you're a couple steps away from the finish line, you're going to feel great. Just keep trying to be a better person. We all fall short in life. We're not going to be perfect. We're all going to mess up. As long as you're on this upwards curve, you're doing the right thing. Get yourself out there, meet new people, go out and explore. Seek and ye shall find. You will find exactly what you're looking for as long as you go and look for it.
Zach, thanks so much for your time today.
Thank you for your time, bro. I appreciate it.
It's been an absolute pleasure, mate. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. I've been Rich. This has been Zach, and you've been amazing. Catch you later.
One.